people, Jews as a nationality, and me personally will look at Arabs and Muslims from now on is going to be completely different. There was a relative sense of trustworthy that came in a different way. And I think that has been, to a certain extent, deeply changed. And we're going to see how that's going to play. So to answer your question, there's going to be much more tension even between the Arabs in Jenin and Shem and other places around the West Bank than there was today. The big question Israel is asking right now, we're all asking and everybody's kind of worried about, what will that mean for the Arabs that live inside Israel? And there's going to be a big deal, and we're going to see in the next couple of days. If you want to pray for something, pray for peace and quiet on that front, because if that kind of sparks off, that's going to bring this all to a new dimension. We can deal with what's going on in Gaza in one way with all the complexities, but if this is happening in downtown Jaffa, this is a wholly completely different dynamic.
Right.
And that is going to be, and I'm going to say Israel's going to take its gloves off. Yep. Meaning if Arab starts peaceful demonstrations on the road on Route 6 that goes up in north and south in Israel, Israel is not going to be as Western as we were in the past.
So
and things are going to get bad.
Well, as I look at it, David, I have a hard time thinking that Israel's response will not forever change the dynamic of what's going on over there right now, or what has been the status quo. Does Israel take back the Gaza Strip? You start looking at these different things. I mean, how do you live with this? And you said in the beginning, the evil, the hatred was underestimated. So that they're exposed for what is really in their heart. So you can't go back to business as usual, making deals, agreeing with the UN, agreeing with the Biden administration. And by the way, I personally, David, I believe the Biden administration is complicit in this. They giving $6 billion to Iran. I think it's $1.5 billion to the PA, all the weapons in Afghanistan. And I look at this, and to me, it's just absolutely disgusting. But from my perspective, I think, I'm just a guy from America that talks about these things. But I'm thinking, I can't imagine Israel not taking. They've got to change the way things have operated. This is so bad, and it's got to be a permanent change.
You're looking for a morality also in the United States that I think is lacking.
I think lacking.
So what I'm trying to say is, I'm sure that there are people in the Biden administration, and Biden came out with a very "we support Israel" declaration that was probably pre-written. I don't know who's writing his scripts. By the way, I don't know if anybody else knows, but okay. But somebody wrote a script for him.
I call it the Biden administration for a very particular reason. The O meaning who I think is really sort of running the show in the background. But that's
well, Tom, you heard me say this, and I'm an Israeli, so I have to be careful. I respect, other presidents, but I'm also an American citizen. And let's put it this: I call him the BBB. BBB means Big Biden Balagan. And if you know what a Balagan is, you know what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is, we're going to come to terms with everybody, but we live in a real world. I don't know if you know, but what's happening between us and Russia is maybe a good example. On one hand, okay, we've got a problem with Russia now, and it looks like there has been some kind of connection there. On the other hand, we need Russians turn off the switches of the S-300 when we're going to bomb assets in Syria. Okay. On the other hand, so we're kind of playing this very complex role. I'm afraid that we have another version of that with the United States of America too. And Israel is saying, well, okay, we need your support. By the way, we need interceptors for the Iron Dome right now. I mean, Raytheon, get working. We need those as quick as possible. But, and we're not going to say anything against America, but yes, we understand the complexities of that situation. And we haven't talked about the Christian non-reaction to what's going on in Israel, but we can go back to that if you want to.
Let's go back in a couple of minutes. Let me ask you about this first. What's Hezbollah in the north? John, I think you had sent me an article a little while ago about 2,000 troops, Hezbollah troops now in the north.
That was a report, but everything gets kind of percolates through the social media now. It's hard to verify. But they were moving from Rosh Hashanah towards Metula. They said.
Okay, so let's put Hezbollah on the map. For those of you who don't know, Hezbollah is the pro-Iranian proxy sitting in southern Lebanon and is using southern Lebanon as a base to attack Israel. And Israel is seriously worried that another front would be opened up in the north that would change a lot of the dynamics. One of the things that your president did, and the stress that he did put in his statement, was to tell everybody else, stand down. And he made it very clear that the United States would support Israel here, and he made it very clear to other players in the Middle East. And one of the things that we need to see is this issue with Gaza, this issue with the Hamas is part of a bigger game that's going on. One of the reasons that this has exploded now is because the oncoming agreements between Israel and other factions inside the Middle East. I believe that there's a deep connection to that. And so what the United States did is, first of all, kind of turns its gaze towards the other people in the Middle East and said, stand down. And as of now, Hezbollah is standing down. They shot a couple of mortars at Hardov, which is an outpost overlooking a contested piece of border. Meaning there's a piece of border. You've seen it many times, Tom, when you're up in Tel Dan at the headwaters of the Jordan. And I've pointed out to you the Hezbollah base, it sits on a no man's or an area that is in Israeli hands, but the Lebanese say it's theirs. So they attacked from there very carefully instead of opening up the border as is, which means that we kind of believe that as of now, Hezbollah is worried about getting into it unless they see a major gain. And I think they're going to be sitting on the fence now for a couple of days, waiting to see what's going to happen and deciding based on that if they're going to be, because Israel will bomb. I mean, Lebanon cannot take another war with Israel. I mean, it would open up a border, but they cannot. It would completely destroy Lebanon as an entity. And maybe that's what they want, but that's another story. So that's the big puzzle that we're talking about right now. But I want to go back to something. And again, this is definitely a 9. Did something change just now?
No, you're good.
You're fine.
You're good.
So got sound?
Got everything. You're good, David.
Keep going.
You're good.
Now.
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to say is this has changed the dynamic in the Middle East. And like you said, we can talk about what the end time or what the final result of this is going to be. We're not sure, but there are a couple of options and we'll talk about that. But Israel will never trust the Arabs the way we have relatively trusted them until now. And I think that's something that we have to put into play. That might be the first domino of a series of other dominoes. And again, I'm talking to people who specialize in prophecy, and it's not a hard fit to see some more dominoes coming after that one, leading to a completely different place.
Do you see Israel getting control of Gaza anytime soon?
Israel's pulled out all the stops, and we're actually calling up everybody who can carry a weapon. You see the wrinkles over here?
Oh, yeah.
That's the only reason I'm not in uniform. That's the only reason I'm not in uniform right now. And something big is happening. Now, going into Gaza, you'll understand if they pulled this off, knowing what's going to be, they're prepared for us to go into Gaza. And everything that you have ever heard about the Battle of Iwo Jima in Pacific Theater in World War II, where the Japanese were dug in so deep that it took years for some of them to come out of the holes. Everything that you've ever heard about the battles in Afghanistan, everything that you've ever heard about, the battles in Mosul, we're going to go through that. right now if we win, well, if we go into Gaza. So they're prepared for some kind of land offensive, and it's going to be a very, very bloody battle. It's going to be a very bloody battle on the Palestinian side, much more, but it's also going to be a very battle on the Israeli side. And here's the thing: Israel, for a long time, did not go in because we wanted to save our soldiers, but we also wanted to save Palestinian casualties. We wanted to. I mean, again, think about this: we could drop a bomb on any building that fires a rocket, but you're going to have to deal with civilian casualties on that side.
The
that are
diplomatic
going
fallout,
to have
you
to
know.
the diplomatic, the political fallout that we're already seeing right now. There's demonstrations in the states supporting the poor Palestinians.
Oh, it's
Okay,
horrible.
so
Yeah,
that
horrible.
there's going to be a fallout.
Yeah.
But I think Israel's going to be less sensitive today, and especially this government. By the way, I don't know if you understand. Bibi's gone. I mean, I don't know if he's going to go now, but he's been completely discredited. Right now, this government, very similar to Golda Meir. I don't know. It's classic that the movie came out a couple of months ago about Golda Meir and the Yom Kippur War, and this happened on the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War. And Golda Meir was kicked out of office after she fought the war, but I think Bibi's going to go the same way. So, and won, okay, and we're going to win this.
Oh yeah.
But the Israeli public is never going to forgive Bibi for dropping the ball on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna show a quick video, and then because it just speaks to the propaganda war, what is happening, anti-Semitism. And by the way, I told John this a few hours ago when we were coming back from Dallas, that I had a very short video yesterday. I think it was 2 minutes long. We had over 100 anti-Semitic comments on there that got deleted. It was over this. But I'm going to show you this quick video. If you guys can run this video, it's regarding these pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel celebrations that are taking place all over the world. Can you guys run this video?
خيبر خيبر يا يهود جيش محمد بدأ يعود جيش محمد بدأ يعود خيبر يا يهود خيبر خيبر يا يهود جيش محمد بدأ يعود جيش محمد بدأ يعود خيبر خيبر يا يهود جيش محمد بدأ يعود جيش محمد بدأ يعود خيبر خيبر يا يهود جيش محمد بدأ يعود.
So this is happening in not just there, New York, Florida. This is MSNBC. Reporters criticize Israel, claim Hamas attacks deserve context. David, you've talked a long time with me, quite a long time over the years, about the propaganda war, and we see it, and it's like no matter the whole thing. So Israel's doesn't just have the physical battle. Now, you mentioned what's going on with Netanyahu. For all practical purposes, he's done. But the propaganda war is horrible. And also, John, you and I have talked about this whole social engineering that's been taking place in America and social justice and anti-Israel sentiment is part of the social justice movement here in America. And you're seeing this, and the whole thing is just real.
Now, what you see behind me looks like a traditional shingle.
What's
Sorry
that?
about that.
What was that?
Something on my phone popped up.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I mean, I look at the anti-Semitism and the propaganda. David, what are your thoughts?
Tom, you've known me for a lot of years, and you've known how I figure out what's going on. For many years, I've been looking at this politically, militarily, strategically. You also know that I'm a Christian now. And there's no way that you can take the spiritual battle that's being fought on all these different fronts out of this one too. And let's see if I can explain. And I'm on the edge of being able to tie up. But if God is truth, and the Western world is taking truth out of the public discussion, nothing is true anymore. Nothing is right anymore. That means everything is acceptable. It's only a matter of who's saying. It's only a matter of how many thumbs up they have on their Facebook or on their Instagram. That's what defines what is acceptable, what is right, and what is wrong. Okay, so if there's no right and wrong, everything is decided by the masses. Okay, then an Arab who goes in and slaughters a family in their bedroom can be as right as somebody is defending his country. So if you take the godliness and the truth out of it, if everything's relative, then you can see Israel as an oppressor and see this as a reaction to oppression. One. Two, if you're a young Muslim living anywhere in the world today, you are at the bottom of the totem pole. The Muslim countries have been the most, how do you say, terrible countries in
Oppressed,
anywhere. I
yeah.
mean, economically oppressed. I'm not even oppressed. I mean, if you're a young Muslim, okay, you have to look at the world. There's